Chapter 6. Never again will I doom the earth because of man, since the desires of man's hearts are evil from the start, nor will I ever again strike down all living things as I have done. As long as the earth lasts, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Stephanie gave a long sigh, held a hand on the back of her head as she shut the book, and looked toward her friend. Yeah, that one's kinda hard to talk about, isn't it? The look on Cassandra's face was a difficult combination of a blank stare and open-mouthed horror. Stephanie was surprised this was the first time she was really seeing it. It was now the third time Cassandra had come to be read to and taught, and she remained quiet through all the events in the Garden of Eden, Cain and Abel, and Stephanie's struggle to pronounce Nephilim, which she admitted she really had no idea was in there at all. To die is terrible, Cassandra said. I already knew. The book said so too. Why he said not to eat the fruit. Yeah, I know. Their son killed his brother and was cursed. I know, Stephanie repeated. But God killed everyone? Almost, Stephanie said. Almost. When it became clear that her friend really had no idea how to respond, Stephanie continued. Cassie, this is why I really wasn't sure about this. I know you have a hard time with symbols, and I don't even know if me explaining it would be accurate. I don't know all that much about Catholics or what the differences are. It's weird enough that it keeps saying Holocaust. Under her breath, she added, Seriously, I know they're old-fashioned, but that's really uncomfortable. Tell me what you know, Cassandra said. Tell me what it means, to you. You really want to know? Stephanie asked. Cassandra's look gave her reason to continue. It's a story, Cassie. It's an important story. Some people will tell you it's real, but I'm telling you it's a story. It didn't really happen. Now she was given a look of confusion. God made the earth. All the stuff that's in here later, that's all real. I mean, at least, I think that's real. But this right here, she ran her finger along the story of Noah. This was written a long, long time ago. We've learned a lot of stuff since then, and the world is a much different place. The flood, it happened because everyone but Noah and his kids and those animals were evil, horribly evil. Back then there was no jail, no asylum, no police. When there were bad people, you had to kill them. To this writer, that was the only way. Cassandra remained silent for about a minute before the increasingly exasperated Stephanie continued. It isn't just that bad things happen to bad people. It's that good things happen to good people. She reached across the desk for one of her notebooks and tore out a page in an attempt to illustrate the point again. Do you know why Batman wears the costume? Do you know why you wear the costume? Protecting identity. Protecting the body, Cassandra said. Nope, at least not totally. That's why I wear a costume. Bruce? He does it because of the power the suit carries. It's not just about the armor, it's about the idea. People see Batman, and they don't think, I'll bet he's a billionaire playboy during the day. They think, he's gonna kick my ass. Batman is a symbol for punishing the wicked. So is the flood, but it's also a symbol of love towards innocence. Cassandra's expression had now gone completely blank as Stephanie leaned into her hand and muttered, Bad example? I'm not even entirely sure what I just said. She mentally reminded herself that in spite of the awkwardness, she'd mentally prepared for the situation to be about 100 times worse. Can I try something else? Go ahead, Cassandra said. See all this? Stephanie grabbed and flipped through at least 3/4 of the pages in the tome. If you want me to be honest, I don't know all this very well. I know the basics, but she stopped and glanced at the page she was flipping past. Tobit? I've never even heard of that one. The point I'm saying is that maybe we don't try to handle this beginning to end. How else would you read a book? Cassandra asked. That's the thing, it's not one book, it's lots of books. And you read those beginning to end, but I think circumstances being what they are, we can permit ourselves to jump around a little. Again, this part here, she pointed at the last quarter of the book. I know it a lot better, and if you ask me, it's a little more important. How? You know the guy at the end of that rosary of yours? Let me tell you why he's there. Cassandra glanced outside. It was still early afternoon, but she said, "Will I be a bother?" "I don't mind if you don't," Stephanie said. "I just want to feel like we're making some progress here." She considered how she'd preface the next reading before there was an audible opening of the door on the first floor. Stephanie turned toward the hallway outside her bedroom and called, "Hey, Mom!" Then she looked toward Cassandra. "I'll be right back." As Stephanie went to greet her mother, Cassandra studied the page she'd opened to and, with a little effort, made out the name Matthew written across the top. Unsure what else to do with the wait, she rose when she started to hear talk from down the hall and went to investigate. Cassandra felt relatively sure she'd encountered Crystal Brown before, but wasn't sure they'd ever actually exchanged words. When it came to Stephanie, there was always the strange possibility they'd briefly spoken at her funeral. The mother leaned against one of the kitchen counters, a to-go cup of coffee in one hand, and a pair of glasses on her face. Crystal glanced up in Cassandra's direction, swallowed a bigger drink of coffee than she anticipated, and wheezed. Stephanie stepped over to pat her on the back, but Crystal raised a hand and shook her head. I'm fine. She looked back toward Cassandra. "Is this your friend?" "Didn't hear her at all. She's quiet as a mouse." Stephanie chuckled and motioned between the two. "Mom, this is Cassandra. Cassandra, this is my mom. Don't remember if you two have ever been properly introduced." Cassandra extended her hand. Crystal accepted it. "I'll only be home for an hour," Crystal said. "Work has me helping administer vaccines at a soup kitchen tonight." She turned a sad-eyed smile towards Stephanie. "I was hoping to convince Steph to come along, but was informed you two were busy." Without a moment to consider what might be going unsaid, Cassandra said, "We could come with you." Crystal beamed. Stephanie's smile fell away. "Would you? We could always use more volunteers." Cassie, you sure your dad would be all right with that?" "It's fine. It's my night off." As Cassandra said it, she saw an increasingly defeated look cross Stephanie's face. Only then did she consider there might be something else going on. "Well, great. That settles it then." Crystal clapped her hands in satisfaction. "I'll toss in one of those lasagnas in the freezer, and we can all go together." Stephanie cast a momentarily frustrated look at Cassandra before she seemed to resign herself. "All right. Well, if she's up for it, and if I can break away to do my homework. Call us when dinner's ready, Mom. We're going back to my room." Cassandra followed Stephanie as they returned to the bedroom. As she shut the door, Stephanie let out a long, tired sigh. "Did I do bad?" Cassandra asked. "No." But the way Stephanie dragged out the word suggested she didn't entirely mean it. "My mom does this like once a month, and I know they're always struggling for volunteers, but... I'm already saving the city the other nights of the week, and going to school when the sun's out." Cassandra looked away. "I'm sorry." After another long exhale, Stephanie said, "I know you don't always catch social cues. It's fine. Just, let me handle it myself next time. It'll be fine. It'll be something to make Mom happy." She sat back down at the desk and tapped at the seat next to her. "Come on, I'll read you a little more." "You're sure?" Cassandra followed her motion and sat down. "Said you have homework." "Like I said, I want to feel like I'm making progress here." She opened her mouth to read, paused, and started to skim the first paragraphs. "I'm going to skip the genealogy lesson. It won't mean anything to you. Let's just skip right to the good news." The next few segments Stephanie read rattled around in Cassandra's mind through the meal and the drive to the nourishing Gotham building. A few minutes were given to the miraculous conception of the boy Jesus. Cassandra understood enough biology to know his circumstances were unusual, but certainly no more so than his predecessor literally made of dirt. Stephanie described how Mary and Joseph lost track of him in the temple, and that the teachers were amazed by his wisdom. That felt a little mundane, but Cassandra could understand how that was impressive. And, because she said it seemed relevant, Stephanie skipped ahead a bit to describe how he fed hundreds of people with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. After some of the book's more brutal early episodes, that moment of supernatural charity felt welcome. At the Nourish building, Crystal was quickly whisked away after she provided her credentials. The lead volunteer, a man in his 40s, seemed largely disinterested in the proceedings, motioned vaguely at a spot between 2 lines of crowd control stations. "The whole building is supposed to flow in a circle. First food, then clothes, then medicine. Don't let anyone jump around, all right?" Stephanie gave him a thumbs up, and the two made their way to the spot he gestured to. Within the next 10 minutes, the doors were open to the aid-seeking public outside. Mothers and children made up the majority of those who came that night, but sometimes they came with men at their sides. Some who entered met their eyes. Others kept their heads down. At least 2 wrung their hands and muttered to themselves as they moved through the line, hardly any different from the less fortunate that commonly walk the streets of Gotham. Occasionally someone would try to slip between the stations, and Stephanie would call, "Excuse me, you have to go this way." She always smiled when she did it, and when she got a moment, she told Cassandra, "These people are here because they're having a rough time. It doesn't cost us anything to be nice." But mostly, the 2 just stood and waited for a seemingly negligible problem to cross their paths. Toward the back of the line, there came another tall, shuddering man, with a much smaller man at his side, rubbing at his back and speaking quietly to him. As they approached, the bigger man attempted to split the divider off the station. "Excuse me, sir," Stephanie approached him. "You can't—" The big man reared his head toward her. Exhaustion seemed to age his face, and he stared, dumbfounded for a moment, before he shouted, "Sinner! Sinner! Don't talk to me! Sinner!" He dragged out the last word in disgust. Stephanie took a step back and raised her hands. "I don't want any trouble, sir, but you have to pass through the line like, 'Sinner! Sinner! Sinner! Sin!' That's enough, Ethan." The smaller man at his side spoke gently and rubbed at his back. When he gave the command, his tall companion seemed to settle a little. Cassandra took a step closer to possibly intercede, but she stopped when the smaller man spoke. "Forgive him. I'm his caretaker. I'll get him through how he's supposed to go." "It's all right," Stephanie said. "I know how it can be. We're just trying to keep everyone safe here." Of course. Come along now." The caretaker led him away, and Cassandra relaxed her position. "Does that happen much?" she asked. "Sometimes, around here." Stephanie lowered her head and added, "Good thing his friend was there. You and me could have handled him, but that might have gotten ugly. We just got to keep things running smooth and keep getting these people their help." Cassandra asked, "Like Jesus?" With a little chuckle, Stephanie said, "Yeah, like Jesus. Looks like someone's coming. Smiling face." She smirked as a figure about her height approached, hands tucked into a black leather jacket. A set of dog tags hung from a chain around her neck, a head of short brunette hair on her head, and her face turned down. "Hi there, good evening. Welcome to—" She paused and the smile fell away. After a moment to consider, she said, "Holy crap, Sadie Leach?" The new person flinched and looked up. It was Cassandra's first impression the figure was masculine, but when she could see the face, she concluded that was incorrect. "Steph? Stephanie Brown?" The other young woman's voice was just a little raspy and tinged with surprise. "Oh my God, I thought I heard you died." There was a laugh in response. Stephanie seemingly relieved some of the dumbfounded pressure on the other woman. "Yeah, that went around. I know. I'm not a ghost, I promise." She gestured toward Cassandra. "This is my friend Cassie. Cassie, this is Sadie. We went to middle school together." "Yeah, Burgess Middle School Bulldogs. Represent." Sadie gave a half-hearted arm pump and forced a smile toward Cassandra. "Nice to meet you." "Yes, you too." Cassandra was never exactly the best at smiling on command of strangers. It was at least part of the reason her mouth was always covered in costume. And given what she observed, this introduction didn't shake that. "Is anyone with you?" "No, I'm here by myself. She paused and looked behind her as if someone or something was making her nervous. "I've been staying with this boyfriend. We had a bad fight." "About what? I mean, if it's okay for me to ask," Stephanie said. Sadie uttered a groan. "He wanted an open relationship." She emphasized the he as she said it, as if even obliquely referencing this person disgusted her. "I didn't, but I also didn't want to stop staying at the dorm. Then I guess the other chick involved just held his attention better." Again she drew out the his, seemingly in painful frustration. "Oh, man, I'm sorry. That sucks," Stephanie said. "But, wait a sec, are you out of places to stay then? What about your parents?" Again, Sadie let out an annoyed little sound. "Just my mom in town now. My dad moved to Fawcett City and never looked back. As for her, She paused, looked down, and scratched the back of her head. "I'm trying to avoid her. We're not getting along right now. I'm really strapped for cash. I'm just trying to avoid her." In an effort to imitate the solidarity Stephanie expressed, Cassandra said, "Sorry. That sucks." Sadie gave the words half a smile. "Thanks." Then she looked back towards Stephanie. "Is your mom here? Think she'd recognize me? Is she some kind of mandatory reporter or whatever? I don't think Joanne has bothered trying to find me since I started staying over, but the last thing I need is getting sent back to her with a police escort or whatever. I think she's in a different room helping with vaccines and stuff, Stephanie said. Keep away from there and it basically guarantees she won't give you any trouble. Awesome, thanks. As Sadie was about to leave, Cassandra said, sorry, fought with my mother a lot too. For separate reasons, both Stephanie and Sadie froze up. Stephanie's eyes went wide as she looked at Cassandra in quiet horror for what might come next. After a second, Sadie asked, oh yeah? That sucks. I'm sorry too. Did she ever call you a crappy going-nowhere artist or anything like that? Cassandra determined artist felt close enough to martial artist and nodded. Said I'd never be good as her. Well, I don't have that problem at least. Unless it's a drinking contest. For as dark as the joke felt, Sadie still laughed. As if doing so gave them permission, Cassandra and Stephanie laughed too. In the midst of their conversation, more families started to come in out of the night. Sadie cast a look between them and said, I better not hold up the line, and I really haven't eaten all day. She looked towards Stephanie. Steph? Then she nodded towards Cassandra. Cassie, nice to meet you. With one more look back towards Stephanie, she said, I'm kinda stuck with just my old email for communication right now. If you're using the same one from back when, I'll try getting a hold of you. Sounds good. Take care of yourself, Cassandra said. Good to meet you. Cassandra finally made it back to Wayne Manor well past nightfall, walking in to find only Alfred home, seated in the parlor as if he was waiting for her. Ah, good evening, Miss Cassandra, he said. Masters Bruce and Timothy have already departed for the evening. Master Bruce says you shouldn't be concerned and should just rest. The night's been quiet. Maxie Zeus is the only thing to a true concern on their plate. Thank you, Alfred, Cassandra said. I have prepared dinner if you haven't eaten already. I ate with Stephanie. Very good. Miss, there was something else. Cassandra gave him her attention. Master Bruce wanted me to tell you he knows you're delving into a rather personal, complicated matter right now. He's well aware he can sometimes be difficult to approach, especially in situations such as these. He bent to look Cassandra in her eyes. But he cares for you deeply. And wants it clear that you can speak to him. Said he knows you aren't used to it, but that is what a father is supposed to do. She gave him a smile and said, thank you, and excused herself to her room to meditate on the reading and the night's experiences with Stephanie.